Hello, cats and kittens, or Jose Yoroshku. I'm back in the Crisis Corner on Manga Monday with as quick as possible a reaction I can have to One Piece Chapter 1153, The Birth of Loki. Now, I have just actually read the spoilers for One Piece 1154, and that chapter blows this one out of the water, but it doesn't make this chapter inconsequential. This is a setup chapter for what's to come. The important takeaways from this chapter is that we because everything is setting up to finding out who what actually happened at the death of King Harold. How did he die? Why is Loki the way he is now? All of those things, we're getting a slow walk up to that. Now, we get the backstory of King Harold. He grew up with Dorian Bragi. He was wild. He was uncaring due to his royal bloodline, his strength, and the power of his bloodline. He had a dim view of others. He was mischievous. He's a king, but he's a jerk because he was caught up in himself, caught up in his own power. He comes across a giantess who is apparently being held captive by normal humans. This irritates him because he's saying, giants shouldn't be treated like this by humans. He comes up and beats down on the humans and frees the woman, only to find out that she was actually working with the humans. I can't say it was a scam, but she was pretending to be a prisoner of the humans in this freak show or whatever. Not a skanky freak show, but just a carnival type show. But she did that to repay them for the kindness that they showed her when she was close to death or something to that effect. And she berates Harold and basically tells him, just because you're bigger and stronger than people, you shouldn't treat people like that. You should have more compassion and so forth. So all of that is to say the power of love gets him to see that he should have a broader worldview. So after his association with Ida, who is the giantess, he broadens his worldview and he becomes more interested in other cultures, other races. He opens Elbaf up to having ambassadors to go to other lands and so forth, this, that, and the other. And he becomes ultimately a better person due to the power of love. Okay, that's the thrust. Now, on top of that, um, eventually, the power of love, whatever. So, hey, he and Ida have a child who is uh, Luffy's current subordinate, Gerald. Not Gerald, Haroldin. So that's his child with Ida. However, because Ida is not a pure blood of the royal bloodline of Elbaf, he can't marry her. So he has to marry this pure blood, royal bloodline giant, Estrid. Estrid, I think is her name. And she is just the worst. The thing I like about Oda is he makes bad people bad. You know, she's the way she acts, her materialism, the way she looks down on people. She's really dismissive of others, whatever. So I would say that Harold would have preferred, obviously, he would have preferred to marry Ida, but customs are customs. So he goes along with it. He, marries Estrid and has a child by her who is Loki. Now, this sets up one of the saddest backstories. Oda knows how to really, really bring on the feels because Loki is born. To be brutally honest with you, outside of his eyes, what's wrong with him? You know what I mean? The eyes look messed up. I mean, not messed up. He has these, alien looking eyes. He got horns, yeah, but his father has horns, so, that shouldn't be a big deal. But he's got these eyes. He's got these, I don't know, just snake like whatever eyes. And Estrid is just absolutely disgusted with her own child. Oh, it is heartbreaking because she tells the attendants or whatever, get rid of him, throw him off down off of the Elbath is up the tree down into the underworld basically, which is the lower level of Elbath. And she just said, get rid of him, and don't tell anybody about it, because Harold is out doing his diplomatic stuff, so he's not there when the child is born. She said, just tell him he was still stillborn, get rid of him. And they tossed him off. And that page is heartbreaking because it was the translation said, the Prince of Elbath grasped for the empty air, but no hand reached out to envelop him, to envelop his own. The most unfortunate of all living creatures is the one whose very existence is denied by his mother in the moment of his birth. It's quick. There's only basically 2 pages, but you see, he's just abandoned by his mother and tossed into the underworld. But the messed up part is Shorty, he's a G at birth. Youngin climbed back up the tree, you know, to come back up to the upper level of Elbath. He just climbed back up on his own. He down there in the underworld. There's like all kinds of animals and beasts out there. Apparently, he dealt with it. An infant, a newborn. He battles his way all the way back up. So he wasn't, he a G. He's a G from birth. All right. So props to him. Now from this you can see if this was your background and we see how Loki is currently, you'd be bitter too. You know. Now we're gonna get into how he was actually raised because at the beginning this is the second of 2 flashbacks. In the flashback where Loki and Gerald were approaching the king's chambers and find him being murdered by these bunches of world government agents. Apparently, Loki at that point was on good enough terms where he could be summoned to the king's chambers. So he didn't go completely rogue, but we know that he turned out to be a handful. He turned out to be a menace. He's a prince of Elbath, but he was a menace, and he had a beef going with Harrodin. You know, we're going to get into that in the next chapter because that was in the spoilers too. But from there, we basically see that, yeah, that's pretty much the thrust of the chapter. The main points. It's just the birth of Loki is just incredibly sad. It's only 3 pages that you really get into it, but those 3 pages are remarkably sad. I mean, a baby abandoned by his mother and tossed off like trash. To be honest with you, he rebounded pretty well. I'd be bitter too. And if you raised me under those circumstances, I'd probably burn that joker down too. But so be it. Now, so I'm basically I'm going to stop there because I'm not going to say what the spoilers are. You can find that out for yourself. But the next chapter, 1154, gets into some insane reveals while continuing the flashback narrative. So we're going to get more on Loki, his troubled childhood, our upbringing, and we're going to get into a major shocking reveal. The first appearance of someone who we've been only seen a silhouette for years now. It's sick. Okay, it's not sick like demented, but it's a crazy cool reveal. So I'll leave it there. So the birth of Loki and one of the saddest bits of backstory that I ever seen, Drama Island, all of that stuff. This is pretty sad. Shorty, but Loki's a G. Another question that I do have is the significance of his eyes. they're bandaged now. Is that just? I don't know. See, because we don't know if he has a devil's fruit. We don't know if he's has some power in his eyes that he covers up with the bandages because it's some observation type situation, or is it just because he was forbidden to show his eyes? I don't know. But we see what they look like. Now, do they hold any significance? Do they hold any power or whatever? We're gonna have to find out. But Moms wasn't feeling it. That's for sure. Anyway, so there's that. Spoilers are coming out. I might drop impressions earlier than next Monday, but generally I want to wait until the official translation drops so I can do it on Manga Monday. But this is big. This is huge. So I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know what you think. How sad rank? Let me know where does Loki's backstory rank among the sad Kumas and all of those people. Sad, tragic backstories. I would throw in Big Mom too because that was pretty messed up. So that's it. That's it for Manga Monday. Hope you enjoyed the chapter. Look forward to next week. Until then, stay loose.